All right. So Jalen Hurts has been playing football this is Jalen Hurts' sixth season. Been
Yes.
playing football for a long, long time. Most likely his whole life. And what I've seen from Hurts today, on Monday, worst game of his career.
By far the worst.
That's
game.
all I wanted to say before I actually start 215 Sports Podcast with Tyler Lujan across from me.
What's going on, guys?
And Andrew Glover right here. But yeah, I'm in like total disbelief after what I had to watch on Monday night.
The thing that is the most depressing part about it is the fact that they were moving the ball down the field.
They were
having success.
They were moving the ball down the field. It looked like they were going to score.
Yeah.
And I ended up telling my father before the game, before overtime and before the Eagles' possession, I was like, Hurts is going to throw his fourth interception in overtime to end the game. And he's like, well, how is he going to get the platinum sombrero? And that's what happened. There was fourth interception. I will say, though, that it was bobbled.
It was.
It was bobbled. I don't know if it would have been picked if he didn't get a good grip on it or what.
Well, I mean,
But nonetheless, it's still an interception.
if the Eagles actually had a competent kicker, then they wouldn't have even had to go.
They would have
overtime.
been in that situation.
They would have
If
won the game in regulation.
Jake Elliott missed a 48-yard field goal. He's in a dome.
Yeah, how do you miss a 48-yard?
He's missing a 48-yard
with
field
no
goal.
Wind?
There's no wind. The roof isn't open at SoFi Stadium. And he's sitting there missing a 48-yard field goal. Like, what?
It's not like it was a bad snap or a bad hold or anything
No.
along those lines. He just straight up shanked it. He just pulled it.
Pretty much shanked it.
And if you're in a game that you must win, you can't be shanking very easily made field goals.
You can't be shanking field goals from 48 yards out when you know you can hit from 58 yards. How are you shanking from 48?
We got dudes like Cameron Little from the Jacksonville Jaguars that are out here hitting 65-yard field goals in wintry conditions, and yet you can't.
Yeah, they're hitting
65-yard
field goals
with
like
zero.
They're hitting 65-yard field
influence.
goals like it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, and then Jake Elliott, you get to 50 yards and you're holding your breath as to whether or not he's going to make it in a goddamn dome, not even out in conditions that would be unfavorable for a kicker.
That's the point of Jake Elliott I'll get to in a second. But even, you said holding your breath with Jake Elliott. I was holding my breath with Jalen Hurts every single time you had to throw the goddamn football.
Well, the fact that they had him throw the football 40 times is way
They had him
too
throw the
much.
football 40 times, and even after the interceptions, still having him throw the football. This is why the Eagles lost that game.
And it makes no sense because they were having success. One of the only games this year they were having success.
They were having
running
success
the football.
running the football, and they were still throwing the football, which just baffles me.
That's a Nick Sirianni thing.
That is. That's on the coordinator and the coaches, because if Nick Sirianni wants to get more involved in the offensive playbook, and
This is what he does.
Saquon Barkley's running the football well, then why the hell are you still trying to throw it? Because A.J. Brown needs his catches. Oh, you got me in fantasy. Try me.
Dude, if you're going to be making that much of a big deal about you're not getting enough targets or you're not getting enough yards, then you have to make those catches that you dropped in that game.
He had, on the first play of the game, he had dropped a catch, which
That would have been a touchdown.
that would have been a
most
touchdown if
likely.
he breaks that tackle.
Yeah, most likely it would have
There
been a
was a really
touchdown.
good throw by Hurts in the end zone, which he couldn't hold on to.
Back shoulder throw was perfectly placed.
Perfectly placed throw. He just couldn't
Goes
hold
right
on
through
to
his
it.
hands.
And then the throw that went off his hands, which led to an interception. Which, that should have never been an interception in the first place. That should have been a first down.
Yeah.
Move the chains. Instead,
I
it goes on a
understand that,
Hurts' record as an interception.
I understand the ball was a little bit high, but as a receiver,
You should
have
have-
to be able to
Yeah,
high point the football and jump
That's
at the correct
like the
time.
basic necessities of a receiver. You need to jump like a basketball player going up
Right.
for a slam dunk right there, try to get that football.
The reason why he doesn't catch that is his timing on the jump is wrong. He jumps too early, so he's already coming down when the ball
Coming
is
down,
coming
and the
toward
ball
him.
is tipped off the back of his hand. And
Right, if he times
right into
that
the
jump
defender.
better, and he actually jumps, maybe a half second later than what he did, he probably catches that football.
Most likely.
So-
And look at this now. The Eagles are finally getting exposed for what they've done. Since their since starting 4-0, because they started 4-0, they are now 4-5. So it's the cracks are slowly but surely making their way to the center point, and it's going to be like the earthquake, and they're slowly coming together, and they're going to merge at the center, and it's going to form the effect, the explosion, the collapse, whatever it's going to be.
I was watching the news yesterday, and out in like California, they were showing on, I guess it was ABC News at 6. There was some like house that exploded. That's what I feel like the Eagles are right now.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
They're sitting in a kitchen with the gas that is on, and someone is standing there with a match not too far from the propane line, and you get any closer, and this whole thing is going to blow up.
They are sitting in the kitchen. There is gas. There is oil on the gas stove, and instead of trying to stop the fire, they're adding lighter fluid to it.
Yeah.
Which is causing the fire to even extend more.
They're throwing water on it because they're like, oh, we know how to try to put it out.
Yeah.
But what happens when you throw water on a grease fire? It just gets worse.
It just gets worse.
So it seems like the solutions that they're coming up with to try to stop the fire are just making it worse.
Yeah. The game that hurts, they needed from Jalen Hurts the most after all the criticism about the offense, and, maybe we'll get it back together one of these days or whatnot. You're not going to win games when you're turning the ball over 2 times in one play.
No.
I don't think I'll ever see that ever again from watching an NFL football game.
Probably not.
An interception and a fumble, and you still can't recover the freaking fumble.
And there was realistically 4 turnovers on that one play. The interception,
the first fumble, the second fumble, the third fumble,
and then the final recovery by the defense. So
it looked
realistically, there was 4 back and forths of who had the possession right there.
It looked like Pop Warner. Pop Warner football.
It did.
Where it's just a bunch of children trying to beat each other up at recess, and one of them got the football somehow.
This is why in Pee Wee football, Pop Warner, whatever level you're at before you get to high school, you just fall on the football. Like, I don't understand why Jalen didn't just fall on it.
He didn't fall on it.
You have no need to pick it up and try to run with it because you already threw the interception.
You were going to lose yards regardless.
No, it doesn't matter. You're going to get a first down because there was a change of possession already. So it doesn't matter the fact that you technically lost yards. You're still going to get a first down because there was a change of possession. And that's the thing that blows my mind. Like, there was no need for you to try to pick the ball up and run with it. And it almost looked like he was going to pick the ball up and try to throw it because he was behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh, God. Like,
was
that's
it
just no words for. That just has no words for. Imagine if you would actually try to throw that after.
Yeah, like look at when he picks the ball up. He brings the ball to like his shoulder, almost as if he's getting ready to throw the ball again. And it's like, what are you doing?
So this is a post on Twitter, and the guy and Jalen Hurts said, I didn't play well enough. Too many turnovers.
Yeah, no shit,
then,
Sherlock.
And then the reply said, yeah, no shit. Thanks for the update, dick.
Like, dude, of course you didn't play well enough.
Of course you didn't play well.
That's pretty obvious to anyone that has a pair of eyeballs, or even if you only have one eyeball. I mean, you can...
Anyone can look you dead straight in the eyes and say, hold on, let me reword that real quick. No one can look you dead straight in the eyes and say, Kevin Patullo or Nick Sirianni or, factor not Jalen Hurts caused you to lose that football game because 95% of that football game was on Jalen Hurts and then 5% was on A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
No, we'll say...
The play calling actually wasn't that horrible.
95% was on Jalen Hurts. 4% was on A.J. Brown. 1% was on Jake Elliott.
Yeah, I think I might give Jake Elliott 10%. Because, as we said, dude, you got kickers out here making 65 routinely, and you can't even trust him at 50.
A 50-yard field goal, especially with the deflated balls.
And how, plus he didn't have the greatest year last year. When anytime he got to 50 yards last year, we were talking about the same exact problem where 50 yards, you don't know whether or not Jake Elliott's going to make it.
Elliott's time is going to be over soon.
They're going to have a new kicker by the start of next season. I mean, you can't really change kickers now. There's 4 weeks left.
No,
so what's the point?
You know,
in changing your kicker?
There's no point in changing the Jake Elliott, but
Plus, there's probably not anyone that out there right now that's better than Jake Elliott that you could just grab from some other team's practice squad or from the free agency pool.
They'll probably just find someone in like the UFL or something or the CFL.
There's a lot of people that are actually coming over from other sports that are actually making it to
anyone except Younghoe Koo.
Well,
who pulled off like that Charlie Brown ass play versus the Patriots.
Younghoe Koo actually did have a decent run down in Atlanta.
He had a decent run, and then he ended up falling off.
Well, I think he had some type of leg injury last year where he was sidelined for a lot of the year, and he probably just never is going to be the same again because of that leg injury. But you got to be able to find someone that is actually someone that you can put confidence in from 50 yards next season. Because I don't think if you were to ask any coach on that staff or any player or any fan right now, are you confident that Jake Elliott's going to make a 50-yard field goal? There's probably going to be 50% of people that are like, maybe, and then the other 50% are going to just outright say no. Because he just hasn't
that's a
hit
case.
him. He really just has not hit anything from 50 or plus this year. He's barely even attempted any. Think on that broadcast, they said what? He only attempted 2 total field goals from 50 or longer so far this season?
And they were both early in the season.
Yeah, and he was 1 for 2. So, like, he's not... So, I don't know what happened to Jake Elliott, but he has lost the drive in that leg. I have no idea what caused it. He had no injury that I'm aware of.
No, Elliott's never injured. He's been the kicker for the last 3 or 4 seasons consistently for the Eagles. The only time he's had an injury is when they had brought in Dicker for that one game against the Cardinals.
Right.
And now look at Dicker.
Yeah, and...
Automatic. Dude got me 20 points in fantasy.
They put up that graphic on the broadcast where from 50 plus, he was 99 of 101?
Yeah,
Like, dude, you have kickers like that are just out there that you could grab, and yet you have Jake Elliott, who's 1 for 2 this season.
Oh, you have Jake Elliott.
Still 1 for 2.
You have Jake Elliott, who we have to hold our breaths, cross our fingers that he makes a 50-plus yard field goal.
And yet you got guys like Cam Little out here hitting 70 in frickin' preseason, hitting 68 to send the game to overtime. In like week 4? He hit that 68 one was it to win the Jaguars to the game or to send it to overtime?
Yeah, so
I think it was to send it to overtime, and they ended up winning in overtime. But still, like, no matter what the situation was, you got other kickers that are out there that are making these 50-yard field goals look routine. And
then you
Jake
have
Elliott
freaking Jake Elliott not there. Yep, pretty much.
Like, Jake Elliott is stuck in like 5 years ago from what kickers have been to what they are now. Because if you look 5 years ago, that's probably around 55-60% for 50-yard field goals. But with the new rule this year, there's so much more. And then not only with him, but with Jalen Hurts playing as bad as he is, because it's been now multiple weeks of him really not performing very well.
No, this is the 4th or 5th game in a row that Jalen Hurts has...
I think 5th game in a row.
That has looked...
Subpar,
mediocre.
Yeah.
It's not the performance that you would see from a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. I mean...
Do you remember when they got to week 5 or week 6, he was in like the top 5 for MVP.
Yeah, he was a front runner, and...
He had an interception and touchdown ratio of like 20-2, and then he had a interception to passing touchdown ratio of I think
13-1.
Yeah, 13-1, and all of a sudden, everything just drastically
everything
shifted.
is falling off a downward spiral. Hold on, let me see this. So the offense had drives to the Chargers. 12-yard line, 17-yard line, 21-yard line, 23-yard line, 26-yard line, 30-yard line, 36-yard line. I mean, pretty much 4 out of those 7 drives I just said are in the red zone, you'd say. And none of those led to touchdowns.
Not a single one.
Not a single drive led to a touchdown from all those drives I just said. That's insane.
And the only touchdown that they did get was on a 50-yard plus run by Saquon Barkley.
Fake push run. And I'll give credit. Saquon Barkley had a fantastic game.
And plus, that was great play design.
That was
there.
great play design.
Great play design. Something we've been asking for.
Getting Barkley in the action, getting really good blocks from the linemen.
Even before that, even before that run, he was still having pretty decent success running the football
Saquon Barkley
the game.
was having a good game up until that, and even that touchdown too. 13 carries, 69 yards. But hear this: 5 carries in the second half. Where does it go wrong when Saquon Barkley is running for 13 carries for almost 70 yards, has a 55-yard touchdown, and you see Hurts throwing interceptions left and right, and you say, all right, we're just going to let him keep throwing out there. Barkley's just, he's just the mannequin out there. He's a display man at this point.
And it wasn't just him, because Tank Bigsby came in, had one run, got 8 yards on the one run, and then they didn't use him again the entire rest of the game.
You can just call him Tank one run Bigsby.
Like, what is the thinking that goes into it? Where, all right, we've got a guy that is the backup to Saquon Barkley that has success. Let's throw him in there to run the ball one time and then not again.
Never
for the
use
entire
him again.
Rest of the game.
What are we doing? Why can you not run the football when you're in these situations and you see that the quarterback is not passing well, or when you're up by a lot of points and need to get to chew the clock? Like, even when they were up 21-0 versus the Cowboys, and they still were trying to pass the football, when you have a dynamic all-pro running back like Saquon Barkley. It's not like your A.J. Dillon is a starter.
No.
It's not like they have Miles Sanders out there. Still, Saquon Barkley, I mean, if you make a mistake, it's a touchdown.
And this is a stat that I heard I think I heard this on Unfiltered on the radio. When Jalen Hurts throws the ball 40 times or more, the Eagles are 0-6.
Wow.
Haven't won a single game.
Even when...
So what does that tell you?
That tells you to run the damn football.
Tells you to run the ball. And I understand that it's not the quickest way. It doesn't have... You're not going to get many of those explosive plays that Nick Sirianni wants to have when you're running the football.
But look what the Chargers did on their drives. They just did short little throws, had really good blocks, and were able to get down into field goal range. They got a touchdown on the first drive.
Yep.
So they were able to work the field, and they were able to get small drives and get forward progress and keep going and going and going. And even Herbert was outrunning Hurts. Hurts is a mobile quarterback and was getting outrun by a guy with a broken hand.
And it's not even like those were designed runs either. He was just trying to keep his team in the game.
They weren't even designed runs.
It's the fact that he was getting pressured all freaking night, gets sacked 7 times.
Yeah, he was getting pressured all that time, getting sacked, and still being able to evade the danger.
And yet, like, the back end coverage was fantastic all game. And you still are allowing the quarterback to run free for 66 yards in the second half.
And Hurts, when he does that, he'll just run in like a million circles. We'll just chuck the ball out there and it'll be an interception.
And it's not like Herbert was necessarily like saving himself. He was taking shots. He was getting hit when he was running to try to get these first downs.
That's something like we haven't seen from Hurts all season.
No. And I understand Herbert is, a bigger bodied quarterback, so he can probably take a little bit.
But he's not as
punishment.
mobile as Jalen Hurts is.
But he was doing that with a broken left hand, and he's throwing caution into the wind, being like, we need this first down because we have to win this game. If we don't win this game, we're probably not going to make the playoffs. And he did the reverse of what normally
Jalen Hurts would have done.
Yeah, like what we normally say about Jalen Hurts, where he makes the plays that he needs to.
What Justin Herbert did is what Jalen Hurts should have done in
It's what
tonight's
Jalen
game.
was doing all last season, where when it got down to crunch time and you needed someone to make a play, Jalen, even if he wasn't having the greatest game, made that play. And I understand that we would probably be sitting here saying the same exact thing about Jalen right now today if A.J. Brown catches that ball, but he didn't catch it. So it negates the fact that, yeah, he did make a big throw when the game was on the line, But A.J. Brown, his receiver, let him down. The same guy that's sitting there clamoring for the ball as much as he is. The same guy that's sitting there going, well, drop me from your fantasy team because this team doesn't use me. Well, why don't you actually catch the balls that you should catch? You're making $30 million a year, dude. You're not making $30 million a year to drop touchdown passes in the end zone. It's ridiculous.
that is 100%. It's a fantastic take. No one can really counter that.
Yeah, dude, this is what you're being paid for. This is why you said you wanted the ball so much. And now you're getting the opportunity to get 2 touchdown passes in a game, one on the first drive, one on the last drive, and you
turning into
drop both of
Nelson
them.
Aguilar.
Yeah, you drop both of the touchdown passes that you could have had.
So here's another stat because this offense has been so fantastic. I just wanted to list the points that they've scored over the last 5 games. So 19 points against the Chargers, 15 points against the Bears, 21 against the Cowboys, 16 against the Lions, and 10 against the Packers. So the Eagles have not scored. Oh, wait, I reword that. The Eagles' dynamic offense with all pros at running back, wide receiver, offensive line.
2 all-pros at wide receiver.
2 all-pros at wide receiver.
Smith and A.J. Brown.
Pro Bowl tight end, all pros at the line. Have not scored over 21 points in the last 5 games. And the last time they scored over 21 points was a team that they beat that had 2 freaking wins, and that was the New York Giants.
Yep, and it's not even like they scored a lot of points over. They scored 26 in that game, right?
So they scored 38 versus the Giants.
Okay, it was 38?
Yeah, 38 versus the Giants. That's routine. If I'm going into this game against whichever team, the New York Giants or the Raiders, I expect the Eagles should be scoring 45 points on the Raiders. But after what I've seen them play in the last 5 games, I mean, I can't even doubt myself that the Eagles are going to lose this game to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Which is a very distinct possibility of happening.
It's a possibility that we're sitting here right now and saying that the defending Super Bowl champions have a realistic chance to lose to a team that has 2 wins and is going to be starting Kenny Pickett on Sunday.
Dude, if Kenny Pickett comes in here and he ends up... Because, what was the big thing with the Cowboys game? Oh, they gave us looks that we weren't prepared for. Well, guess what? This is a look you're not going to be prepared for with Kenny Pickett because there's no tape on him in L.A. I know
there's
how
no
he
tape.
is
He
as a
played
quarterback.
he played 2 quarters against the Broncos, and that was it.
Right, so there's no tape as to what this offense is going to look like when Kenny Pickett's out there. So are we to expect what happened with the Cowboys game where they just completely fell apart? Where everyone's sitting there going, oh, well, they were throwing looks at us that we haven't had any scouting reports for. All right, so you can't adjust on the fly. You have a team that's full of all-pro, Pro Bowl players, full of champions, full of winners from winning programs like Georgia, Alabama, all these other SEC schools, and you can't figure out how to just change something on the fly? What are we talking about here, dude? And even beyond that, you have so much money tied up in this roster where you can't tell me there's not a single player that could even go to the coaching staff and go, this is what I'm noticing from being on the field. And they're still not making in-game adjustments. What happens is the other team is making adjustments and the Eagles are just standing still.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like the Eagles are dumbfounded.
They commit to a plan before the game, and then if that plan doesn't go right, there's no plan B. There's no change on the fly.
Here's the plan in the locker room. Nick Sirianni holds his hands up like this. He's like, all right, guys, today the plan is to score more points than the other team. Because if we score more points, we win. All right, win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win. And then they go out there with no offensive plan or whatever. All right, Jalen, you just had a 5 turnover game. You can just throw a little more interceptions and stuff, Saquon, you were fantastic. So we're actually going to be...
We're going to be sitting you down the rest of the game.
We're going to be benching Saquon for this game.
You were playing too well, dude.
Because AJ came into the office today and said, oh, I need 16 targets at least. Or bailing out on this team.
AJ Brown came in at halftime during the game and was like, where's my targets?
A.J. Brown said, if I don't get at least 5 more targets in the third quarter, I'm going to take a shit at the 50-yard line.
He's like, you know what? They got me on this Geico commercial. I got to prove that I should be on this Geico commercial. Y'all got to throw me the ball. Yeah, I'm like Geico. I'm always open.
Yeah, because soon enough, the Geico Gecko is going to be playing better football than A.J. Brown. He's, 1 inch tall?
But all joking aside, when you look at that game, the Chargers' offense was just as disastrous as the Eagles' offense.
It was disastrous. But here's a defense appreciation post right here.
Yes, because the defense was fantastic.
After the first drive, they went 12 straight drives with no touchdowns.
And it's not even like they were even moving the ball either. They were barely getting 1 to 2 first downs a drive.
They weren't getting anything.
They were barely even getting to the Eagles' 50-yard line.
The fact that the defense, defense should be awarded like an MVP on itself because this defense is so amazing and they're wasting it. How are you going to go 12 straight drives without allowing any scoring? And this offense comes out and it looks like Dumb and Dumber when they drive the van down the hill in that one scene. It is Dumb and Dumber. And this defense...
They're both screaming.
Yeah, they're both screaming.
That's what Sirianni and Patullo are right now. Yeah, they're the guys driving that car.
They're Dumb and Dumber driving down the freaking
hill like, what do we do?
Jesus.
Someone needs to Photoshop the image of the two of their heads on Jim Carrey
on the hill.
And... Oh, who's the other actor that's in Dumb and Dumber? It's Jim Carrey and the guy that passed away a couple years ago. I forget what his name is. Oh my goodness, he was in so many like comedy movies.
Jeff Daniels.
Yes, that's who. Didn't he pass away a couple years ago?
No, he's 70.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of someone else then. But someone's got to Photoshop the faces of Sirianni and Patullo onto those two, with Sirianni driving the bus and Patullo in the passenger seat, them losing their minds as they're free falling with no way to stop it.
Yeah, and they're gonna be, and the free falling song is playing in the background. Like it's like I know Frank the Tank says that a lot. He's like, and the Mets are going to be playing "Free Falling" as they're losing 9-0
by Tom Petty and the Heartbreak.
They're going to be playing "Free Falling" at HOTDOGO.
But just in case anyone wants to sit here and rebuke our points on how bad Jalen has been, let me just open your eyes to a couple of different things here.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, you could say that it's the coordinator's fault, but I mean, Monday night's game was on Jalen Hurts. There's no defending Jalen Hurts.
I think it's more than Monday because
there's no defending Jalen Hurts after Monday night's game.
For the past 5 games, he's had a completion percentage below 60 in 4 out of 5. The exact numbers was 55% with the Packers, 53% with the Lions, 69% with the Cowboys. So that's the only game that he had over 60. He had, I think it was 46 in the game against the Chargers and 54 in the game that was, what game am I forgetting
the
here?
Bears?
The Bears, yeah. So that is 4 out of 5 games where his completion percentage is under 60%. I don't care how good your defense is. If your quarterback is not completing,
you're not going to be winning.
you're
not going to be completing passes with a 54% or 40% completion rate, and
you're not going to
win football games. Because every single time they have to go to Brown when Saquon Barkley is open on the slant route, or Dallas Goedert's there for the screen, or if Devontae Smith is downfield, which Hurts loves doing,
right?
Or even if someone like Jahan Dotson.
I know.
Get him involved in the offense.
He had a couple of catches last game.
Yeah.
He had 2 or 3.
Get
right?
him more involved in the offense. But
it's not like he's some slouch. Like, this was a dude that was a first-round selection 2 years ago.
He's not. Yeah, he's a
solid
He's a good wide receiver, yeah.
And Dallas Goedert, how many times have we talked about him not being used when he's, like, open? I feel like all the time.
When he gets involved in the offense is good.
Like, there were at least 2 or 3 different plays from that Chargers game where Dallas Goedert is wide open over the middle of the field, and Jalen Hurts looks at his first read, doesn't get it and just decides to tuck and run with it instead of going through some of his progressions.
Because when you see Dallas Goedert making those catches on Monday night, he was breaking through tackle. He was pushing his way through to get that extra 1 or 2 yards.
And he's not some guy that's going to lose 50-50 balls. He's big.
He's going to catch He's going to catch the football every single time.
Yeah, he's got great hands.
He's going to be pushing the defenders out of the way in order to get that extra yard.
And they just don't utilize him the way, like, he has virtually the same skill set as Travis Kelce, and yet he is not used in any shape or form the same way that Travis Kelce is used. And he's a better blocker.
Travis Kelce is going toward the latter years of his career.
He's still one of the better tight ends in football right now. He's one of the better tight
ends, yes.
And Dallas Goedert is definitely...
Dallas Goedert's up there with one of the more elite tight ends in football.
And yet this team does not use him
they don't
like
use
he's
him.
An elite tight end. They use him like he's the fourth option on this team, which, okay, if you look at it and you say you got Saquon, you got AJ, you got Devontae, I guess it's logical that he would just be the fourth option. But he's more like he should be getting more targets and more touches, and at least Jalen Hurts should be looking
what they
his
were
way.
doing with earlier in the year.
Yeah. Like, this is a guy that has not scored a touchdown and has been at 7 touchdowns on the season for the past 5 weeks. Past 5 weeks, he's been at 7 touchdowns. So 5 weeks ago was what? Week 9? So
that was the bye week.
So he had 7 touchdowns through 9 weeks and now has 0.
He hasn't got a touchdown since the bye week.
So, like, what are we doing here? And it's not... So, another stat that I wanted to highlight here. Jalen Hurts' on-target throw percentage is down 6% from what it was last year. So last year, his on-target throw percentage, according to Pro Football Focus, was 79%. So around 80%, and that's pretty good. This year, it's down to 73%. So that 6% drop-off might not seem like a huge deal. It's only 6%. But when we're sitting here talking about elite quarterbacks, and we're talking about either completion percentage or on-target throws, 5% is a big deal. 5% could be the difference from you being number 1 in the league to you being number 28th. So 5% is a huge number. And I know it doesn't seem like a lot because you're sitting there and you're like, oh, it's only 5%. Like, how big of an impact could that really have? It could have an impact of 4 interceptions in the last game.
It has a huge impact,
It has a huge impact. And it's not just the fact that he's not throwing these balls on target. Here's where I will get to the coaching a little bit for this game, because just the game plan going in and the plan of using Jalen Hurts as a passer in that game was foolish in a couple of different ways. So number one, for the fact I said earlier, they're 0-6 when he throws the ball 40 times or more. So you have that working against him. And not only do you have the fact that when he throws the ball 40 times, they don't win, you had him throw the ball 40 times against the 3rd best ranked pass defense, according to Next Gen Stats, and the 5th best ranked pass defense, according to Pro Football Focus. So you took a guy that has 0 wins when throwing the ball 40 times and told him to go throw the ball 40 times against the top 5 pass defense.
Yeah, you
expected your team to win the game.
That's entirely on the coaches.
That's 100% on the coaches. So even though Jalen does share the blame in that by the fact that his performance wasn't up to snuff, it still goes back to the coaches for why did you have him throw the ball that much?
And the fact that Saquon Barkley was still running good football, and we already said this earlier, and he wasn't getting any carries, and same with Tank Bigsby.
And this is a perfect microcosm of what is wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles this season in just this game. Because you could sit there and the easy thing to do is point to Jalen Hurts. But when you really look at the stats and everything surrounding the game and like the circumstances, you realize it's much more than Jalen Hurts.
You see the coaches, and you see like that. Exactly. That goes on to the coaches.
It's
that point.
Hurts. It's AJ. It's Sirianni. It's Patullo. It is all of the above when it comes to this. It's Jeff Stoutland.
It's the penalties.
They weren't as bad last game.
They weren't as bad, but they were still negating.
Yes. and there were still big plays that got taken away because of penalties. Jalen Hurts had a 20-something yard run that ends up getting called back because of a hold on Jordan Mailata.
Cooper DeJean had
where he didn't even need to hold.
And Cooper DeJean had an interception that got called back because it was a hold on the defense.
Yep. So anytime that you have those big plays that get negated by penalties, it's a backbreaker for whatever side of the football you're on, whether it's the offense or the defense. And when you have those explosive plays that get brought back because someone didn't do their job, it deflates the entire team. And you can't just keep having every positive play get called back for remedial penalties where it's like the holding penalty. Okay, that's something that you have to do because you feel like if you don't hold, your quarterback's going to get a sack. So I understand at least that one a little bit, but all of the mental
of the bullshit, the false starts, the offsides, the pass interferences,
or like the illegal formation penalties that they seem to get like once a week now, where you have someone that is checking in and is an eligible receiver.
What was the one penalty on Moro Jomo where he went up onto the defender's shoulder and did that? Like, that's just, you can't do that.
I forget what the like actual penalty is called.
It was...
But
invading the neutral zone? No.
I don't know. I don't think that's what it was. I can't remember what it was, but I remember, I think it was during the playoffs when the Seahawks were making that run in like 2009 to 2012 when they were going deep into the playoffs like every single year, where Cam Chancellor did that, where he jumped over the line and he blocked the kick.
Yes, I remember that.
Because of him doing that, they made this rule where you can no longer do that because it's technically unsafe for the other players, especially if you were to come down and land on some lineman that has no idea you're flying over the top. God forbid you kick him in the head or something like that. And they were like, whoa. We can't allow this. We need to create a rule so that people don't start doing this.
It was... personal foul leverage.
That's what it was. Leverage. And that's been a rule that's been in the game for almost 10 years now.
But you just can't make those silly mistakes like that in a game. They were only able to hold them to a field goal. Thank you, defense, once again.
Yeah.
Even the guys that were out, like Jalen Carter, Byron Young stepped up.
Yeah, Byron Young
had a great
game.
Brandon Graham had a great game at the defensive tackle position. Jalix Hunt, even Adoree Jackson, who fans have been wanting gone, like Max Kepler.
He's actually had a good couple
of games. He had an interception. He had
ever since he went out
good
with
tackles,
that
concussion.
Yeah, that concussion. Ever since he's come back from that, he's been much better.
He's been much better, yeah.
And I don't know if that is just like the fact of maybe he just needed a couple of weeks to really get into the flow of this defense. You know, new defensive coordinator. You're playing with a whole bunch of guys you've never played with before. Not only that, you're playing with a whole bunch of guys that used to be your enemy last year. You know, like he was.
That's true. I forgot he was a Giants player.
Yeah, he was a Giants player last year. So you still got, some growing pains and some gelling to do with the team. So maybe it just took him a little bit longer than we would have really wanted it to. But he's had a good couple of games. Like, I feel like it's 3 weeks now that Adoree Jackson has actually been pretty solid.
All right, let me get to my story then. But then you do yours, and then we'll finish. So, this is a fantasy story. The 0-13 team is playing the team that's 8-5. The 0-13 team doesn't set his lineup. The 8-5 team, all he needs to do is win to get into the playoffs. He's up. The 0-13 team has 85 points, and the 8-5 team who needs to win to get into the playoffs has 58 points. He has AJ Brown, who gets him 16. His quarterback, Jalen Hurts. 0.4 points. He loses by 11, and he misses out on the playoffs because of Jalen Hurts. So thank you, Jalen Hurts, for getting him out of the playoffs. But
that happened in my league last week too, where me and my cousin actually were tied for the number 1 seed, and his quarterback was Jalen Hurts. getting him only 0.4
Yep,
points.
0.4 points. Hilarious.
I ended up winning my game, and because of Jalen Hurts' poor performance, he ended up losing. So he dropped from the number 1 seed down to the number 3.
You got a freaking Riley Leonard playing as your starting quarterback, get more points than Jalen Hurts. J.J. McCarthy, more points than Jalen Hurts.
J.J. McCarthy had a good game.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game.
Well, I mean, that Commanders team is basically dead in the water.
They're terrible, but still, they're probably going to beat the Eagles.
But I found my place on what I wanted to say real quick. We talked a couple weeks ago about how long would it be up until we start getting people that are clamoring for Tanner McKee to be put in.
Yes, you said that 3 weeks.
Yep.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
And Nick Sirianni went into the radio and was like, that's ridiculous.
But could you just go through this hypothetical with me, right? Let's say that they listened to the fans and they benched Jalen Hurts, whether or not it's for the whole game, for a series, for the first half. You do realize that Tanner McKee is going to be going up against probably the second or third worst team in football.
Yeah.
So if he has a good performance,
there's nothing to be like happy about when you have all pro receivers and a backup quarterback going up against freaking DoorDash employees in the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes, I just want people to realize that even if he were to come in and hypothetically have a great game, you do realize you're putting Jalen Hurts in a unwinnable position by comparing the fact that he just went against the 3rd or 5th ranked defense pass-wise last week against the Chargers to benching him and now putting in the backup against probably the worst pass defense team. And he has a great game, and now all of a sudden there's a QB controversy, all because Tanner McKee had a good game against a bad team.
Which
you do realize Jalen Hurts would probably have that same performance against this bad team.
Say if Jalen Hurts had like an ankle injury versus Washington, and he had to be sidelined, and Tanner McKee had to play versus the Buffalo Bills, and he actually showed up against the Buffalo Bills, then yeah, that's when the controversy would be like at its peak. But against the Las Vegas Raiders, I mean, there's no controversy whatsoever.
Exactly. And if you were to do that, where you were to put Tanner McKee in, of course he's going to look great compared to what happened last week, because the team is so much drastically worse than the defense you went up against last week. So for all the people that want to see Tanner McKee and want to see Jalen Hurts get benched, you do realize that he's going to be basically going up against, even though it's going to be all starters, he's basically going up against the same Giants team that he went up against in Week 18 of last season, where he put up those gaudy numbers.
Pretty much, besides like Mac Crosby.
Yeah, but the thing is that the Raiders are already dead in the water, so it doesn't really matter what quarterback is out there. They're probably going to have a better game than what Jalen Hurts did last week. So all these people that want to see Tanner McKee, I understand where your frustration is coming from with Jalen Hurts, but let's not act like Jalen Hurts is some slouch or some bum. Like, this is a dude that has won college championships. He's won the Super Bowl. He's won the Super Bowl MVP. Mm-hmm. Like,
he's in a slump.
Yes, it's a couple game sample size, people. Let's just calm it down. I understand that it's fair to criticize him when he plays horribly, but let's not go over the top with it and be like, Tanner McKee is a better option.
Tanner McKee is going to become the new, holy saving grail of this city.
Like, there was still a point in this season where Jalen Hurts was a top 3 or top 5 MVP
Tanner
candidate.
McKee throws 4 interceptions in a game versus the Buffalo Bills. What are they going to say? Start Hurts?
I mean, what if he throws 3 interceptions in a game against the Raiders?
What are they going to say? Start Howell? Start Hurts?
So that's just the one thing that I wanted to get to, because I don't really think we addressed the Tanner McKee thing really too much.
Yeah, that's all we've got to talk about. So,
but please, people, don't go over the top with it. Jalen's going to still be the starter, and he's probably still going to be the starter next year, even if he continues to play as poorly as he has for the entire rest of the season. It would be so disrespectful by the Eagles organization to bench the guy that's brought them to 2 Super Bowls, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both of those Super Bowls, won the Super Bowl MVP, and just 10 weeks ago was an MVP candidate for the regular season. You can't tell me that from a basically 1 month sample size that they're going to bench the Super Bowl MVP from the previous season. It's just not going to happen. So everyone that wants to see it happen, just get that thought out of your mind because it's not going to happen. Unless he gets hurt. That's the only way that it's going to actually come to fruition. Unless he comes down with some type of injury where he's not able to play, it's going to be Jalen Hurts the entire rest of the season. So get used to it, guys.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was all I wanted to say about this game, that the Eagles played like shit, and I mean, what's next for this team against the Las Vegas Raiders? I don't know, but we'll see you next week when the Eagles lose.